prominent attorney in Atlanta, shoots, kills his wife, blames it on black people. Not saying they did it. He just said he grabbed his gun because he was afraid of them, and then the gun just went off. Somehow he admits to the shooting and still blames black people for why he ended up accidentally killing his wife. He gets convicted. A jury hears the evidence. The High Court of Georgia overturns the conviction on the technicality while agreeing, yeah, he probably did it. Put up the picture full mast. Hell of a story. All right, a prominent Atlanta lawyer is now facing a new trial over the shooting death of his wife. Claud Lee Tex McIver III, the former Metro lawyer whose conviction in the shooting death of his wife was overturned by the Georgia Supreme Court. Here's a recap.
They were a big-time power couple. Here you have the vice chair of the state elections board, who's a prominent Atlanta lawyer. You have this strikingly beautiful, incredibly successful businesswoman.
On the night of September 25th, 2016, Tex McIver shot and killed his wife, Diane. The McIvers were heading home after a long day of golfing and an evening of drinking. With a close friend at the wheel, Tex fell asleep in the back seat.
Diane is seated in the passenger seat. Tex is seated right behind his wife.
Not far from home, they hit traffic and exited the highway. Tex says he woke up, saw homeless people, and became worried.
I said, please hand me my gun. Right. He was in the center console.
A spokesman would later say that Tex asked for his gun because he was afraid of carjackers and Black Lives Matter protesters. With that loaded gun now in his lap, Tex says he fell back asleep.
I was handling the gun, and I realized it was in my lap, right, and it went off.
Gun expert Bert Davis.
Can a .38 special just accidentally go off?
Never known it to happen. You have to pull the trigger.
Yeah. All right, let's put him up. So he gets convicted, jury of his peers kind of stuff, right? But then there's a twist. So the Atlanta lawyer gets convicted. Georgia Supreme Court overturns it. He's back in court for a new trial. He was convicted in 2018 for felony murder and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Why? Because Claude killed his wife, Diane. There was never any dispute about Claude shooting his wife. The question at trial was whether he meant to do it or not. Prosecutor said that he was driven to kill her because he coveted his wife's money. Defense attorney says, nonsense. Claude loved his wife dearly, and her death was a terrible accident after he had fallen asleep with the gun in his hand. A Fulton County jury found Claude guilty of felony murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and influencing witnesses in connection with the death of his wife. He was sentenced to life in prison. However, in June of 2022, the Supreme Court reversed the conviction because they said the trial court, they erred when they decided to not allow the jury to consider the involuntary manslaughter offense. That's still very debatable in my opinion. Then presiding justice Michael Boggs, who is now the court's chief justice, wrote the unanimous opinion. Now check this out. He says, and I quote, while the state's evidence was sufficient to support the appellant's conviction for murder. In other words, we know he did it, okay? Without any intention of doing so in the commission of an unlawful act, while the high court overturned the murder conviction, it did uphold the influencing of witnesses. After the high court's decision, the Fulton County DA's office filed a new motion saying that they're going to retry the guy on felony murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. In his motion for a new trial, the district attorney's office notes the Supreme Court found there was enough evidence at trial for a rational jury to conclude, beyond a reasonable doubt, that the man was guilty of the crimes for which he was convicted. New trial is set to begin Wednesday. Should be a doozy. All right, hell of a thing. I mean, damn. Talk about a get out of jail free card. You literally admit you did it. You blamed it on people that were not present. You then try to influence the witnesses so that it doesn't appear that you did it. You get convicted by a jury and you still get out of jail. Gosh. This is unbelievable.
That's how you know you have power, right? And these local, honestly, local criminals and murderers, like they're not like the people, they're not the so-called, homeless people or the Black Lives Matter folks that he and mainstream news tell us we're supposed to be afraid of, all this. No. It's guys like McIver who have local power, who are this power couple, who get drunk and maybe get in an argument, kill their wives. It like that is who we should be afraid of. They're the ones who are truly above the law. I'm glad they're reopening this. I'm glad he's gonna get tried. What's he think he's gonna get? Like a slap on the wrist? Get out of here, man. The fact that you were trying to influence the witness is perfect evidence. The fact that you're lying, that it didn't happen the way you said it happened.
That's called evidence of a guilty conscience, right? If you didn't do it, you're trying to tell the witnesses, please tell the truth. Just tell the truth, because I didn't do it. But if you witnessed something else,